Well, good morning, everybody. We'll see. This is usually not a very good area for internet coverage here in the GTA. We're going to see what happens. Hopefully the video goes. It's very important. I'll see if people log on. Hopefully the video doesn't get cut, but that's the GTA, and that's the downfalls of terrible infrastructure. But hopefully it's going, and I know, because if people don't log on and I don't see, it usually means, oh, there's Razik. Okay, awesome. Okay, good enough. It's very early, I know, extremely early out west, but I've got to find myself a job here. Things have gotten ugly, and that's just the weight of the world. I want to talk about the Russian dollar versus the American dollar. When we look at the American dollar in world trade and products. Now, Canadians, you trade predominantly north and south. You trade in American dollar. This is the deep division of east versus west. But today this video is going to explain something to every Canadian in first person about Russia. In real economics, real Russians, real video. There's a viral video of a young Russian, his wife learning to speak English. His wife was taught in school. They have a newborn baby. They're a low-income family. They have a beautiful home, a lower-end car, and they go around driving to every Russian gas station. I just want to ask a question here, Canadians. If you're not totally programmed or totally manipulated by media here, because I'm going to give you a real economics lesson. When you go to a gas station in Russia, they're much the same as our Petro-Canada or Shell or Mohawk. The list goes on and on and on. Esso goes on and on and on. They have their own brand, their own versions. And just like Canada, they sell in liters too. The difference is they sell in not ruble, which is the Russian dollar. They sell per liter in the kopeck. The kopeck, ladies and gentlemen, that's the ruble cents. Ruble cents. The equivalent, as done as best as that man could do with the great tutelage of his wife. Russians are extremely talented in linguistics. A lot of Europeans are, but specifically a very strong talent, a strong ability of the Russian people is in linguistics. Many languages, they pick them up easy. It's definitely not in my DNA. I'm what is referred to as a monolinguist. But I have excellent skills in mathematics. It seems to translate well into law, and at least in language crossover, in meaning. I'm very good at it. Always did well in law. Always did well in contract. Always did well in step-by-step processes, directions, crossing my T's, dotting my I's. May not be the best writer out there. By no means any measure of any high-end academic literarian. I work very hard at it to get by. I do okay. But I'm no expert in the literary category. Russia speaks Russian. That's the primary language. They have their own domestic dollar, locking out all of world trade in their financial institutions and closing down the pipeline to Germany. They did all that for the people of Russia. They pay the equivalent just 2 days ago of 49 cents a liter. That's what they pay. The cost of living in Russia is almost 4 times better than Canada, meaning the standard of living is, or the standard of living is 4 times higher. The average Russian makes 56,000 rubles a year. And like I said, in a tour of all the gas stations in Russia, they pay 49.6 cents on average in kopeck per liter, which is not easily translated over to Canadian dollars and cents, as everything we work with is based on the American dollar. That is not the same for domestic Russia. They have their own value and supply chains. Anyone and any economist can look. The easiest thing to look at is the binding fives rollout of the vaccines, who implemented them where, how fast they got out, and how many people they were able to trade with. Russia proved 770 million people worldwide. Not a low number, that's 10% of the world's population, folks, just in Russian vaccine rollout. Their oil is tremendously more. And in fact, it's not easy to even find the Russian oil mixed in with all the rest of it. What the world buys from Europe, a lot of it's already pre-mixed with Russia. And since it's all traded in American dollar and the weight of goods in dollars, Russia's doing tremendously well. Look at their debt to GDP. Look at their gold reserves to GDP. No slouch, none whatsoever. Completely way ahead of the United States in independence of any world economic circles. They don't need the American dollar. Doesn't matter what the world ranks the ruble as, because if you're not a Russian traveling the world in ruble and you're forced to stay at home, are you really losing? The answer is no. The only people losing in Russia are the extremely wealthy. They take the hits first. That is the opposite of the West here. That's opposite. Whose system's better? The Russian people aren't suffering 4 times less than the Canadian citizen, half as much as the American citizen. Russia's laughing at USA now. Laughing. This is reality. This is fact. This isn't fiction. What's fiction is what you get narrated. I have more than 3 Russian sources, live coverage of gas stations showing the payment, even going up to the till to pay. We're being had, we're being lied to, we're being shaken down by our Western oligarchs and European oligarchs running amok over us. It is the absolute reason why America had the War of Independence more than 250 years ago. And unfortunately, America's right back into that financial control of those European oligarchs, specific to crown colonials. Joe Biden is some piece of work, piece of shit president. That's reality, and that's the truth. People can say they don't like the truth, but the Russian people are not suffering, not nearly as much as the crown jewel of the Commonwealth for the Royal Family Canada. First to lose, always highest to pay, #1 funders of the NWO. So it is written, and so it is imposed constitutionally, as it always has been since 1867. Justin Trudeau and all the opposition parties to remain in power, to have their full autocratic crown power, must give this power constitutionally to the royal family, and so they do. You all pay. You pay more than everybody else, funding somebody else's strike against all the people. Thank you. That's my video. It's not popular in the morning. It's in the wee hours of the morning, but I got to get back to work, as this system we're in now is aggressive, it's hard, it's hardcore, it's absolutely all about slavery of the everyday Joe Jane citizen. Many are waking up to the reality that is imposed on Canada and many others in that same system build. One that's to be outlawed worldwide, and Russia stands firm. They're not going to lose. look at USA over and over do exactly what I told you they would do, folks. NATO's not doing anything to implement a World War III or do anything that could compromise USA as a P5 member going forward. The P5 do not want to lose their powers in this world. They don't. The world will be not a good place. Now, Canada would love that, but the reality of a post-national state is, chances are Canada would be hit not by Russia, not by USA, but many other countries you least expect. And without a UN and without a system in place like that, who's going to stop them? Everybody says, oh, USA, USA, USA. USA is America first, and they will only protect their supply and value chains. They don't care who pays. That's reality, folks. If you don't believe me, just have a good look at Ukraine and that actor, Zelensky, president from a boy band, and everything he's doing and saying is not coming to pass. They're going to lose that whole side of Ukraine back to the predominantly Russian-speaking citizens thereof, not traditional Russian boundaries. Polish people are angry, many ex-Soviets are angry. That's not the reality of a federalism, and that's not the reality of the Russian-speaking people. Thanks, that's my video. Like it or love it, that's the truth. I just tell you the truth as it really is. Share, 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 get it out there. That's real economics. People trade goods, and how each country values them is up to that country. Russia is more than capable, at least with at least 10% of the world population, to generate more than what they need, more than 161 million people could ever dream of. Canada can't boast the same. Thanks, that's my video. Share, share, share. Bye now.